This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Will Jewelry and Loan. When you need cash and you need it fast, check out Will Jewelry and Loan. Come on in with your jewelry, firearms, electronics, tools, lawn equipment, dirt bikes, side-by-sides, and even four-wheelers. They will beat any competitor's loan amount, and that's a fact. Will Jewelry and Loan guarantees faster and more cash for your loan than any other company in the area. They have your cash you need fast. Check them out today on their Facebook page or give them a call at 304-768-5101. Stop in and talk with them at 5523 McCorkle Avenue, Southwest, South Charleston, West Virginia. Will Jewelry and Loan, 304-768-5101. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls. Man, I tell you, we've been waiting and waiting for this time. We have Huntchef Jeremy Critchfield, born and raised in Pennsylvania. So with Huntchef, their motto is eat what you kill and wild flavor. So how you doing, Huntchef?
Hello, Huntchef Nation. You know, I am so excited to do this, especially after spending some great time with you all down at the Charleston, West Virginia Trophy Hunters Association show last week or 2 weekends ago now. But I'm fired up. You know, we've got a great outdoor show season lined up. We're working on our world headquarters, and we are slinging wild flavor from here to Kalispell, Montana, and back every single day.
And we got Dan Hall here with us, which came in tonight as Chef Dan. He wants to be a chef too, so.
Come on, brother.
Hey, I'm just living in the dreams right now. I'm glad you did remember to mention me. I know how excited you was there, Michael, about Chef being on tonight.
I wasn't going to leave you out there, brother.
Good deal. Chef's great to have you on, man. It's been a time coming. I'm glad we could have you.
I'm fired up to be here. I got to tell you, I can't wait to BS as much as I can inside of 60 minutes. We're already a minute and a half in.
Yeah. So Huntchef was founded back in 2009, and you said that you'd been giving it some good love there since 2017. So just give us a little history behind Huntchef.
So, you know, I grew up here in Southwest PA, hunting, fishing, you know, and I'm going to date myself a little bit in the 70s with my granddad. And before internet, before social media, anything, I mean, that's just how we lived, right? I tell everybody our Thanksgiving table looked like the Pilgrims' Thanksgiving table. We had grouse, we had pheasant, we had rabbit, we had squirrel. It wasn't quite deer season yet, but, you know, if we got lucky on a fall bird, ducks, geese, and it was just how you lived. And there were no hero pictures. I mean, if you're lucky, maybe somebody grabbed a Polaroid or a 35 millimeter camera and, you know, took a picture of, you know, guys in orange with, you know, dead animals and, you know, chose to celebrate and remember that moment. But that connection to food, you know, was really what made me want to be a chef. And, you know, but fast forward through all that, I went to culinary school, became a chef, worked all over the country, mostly 5-star, 5-diamond resort hotels, and always, you know, privately owned places. I never did the corporate thing except for about a year at Four Seasons at Palm Beach. But, you know, as I progressed through my career, people that knew I hunted and fished and prepared what I killed or caught, they were like, hey, you got a good recipe for deer meat? Hey, you got a jerky recipe? Hey, my kid got this pheasant. Hey, we got this squirrel. Hey, we caught this fish. And I'm like, back in like 07, 08, I was like, I'm going to make a website. It has all these recipes on it. And then things got crazy. I changed jobs, actually moved down to West by God, Virginia. You know, the family thing and work thing. And then I came back up to PA, and it just got away from me there for 6 or 7 years. But once I finally got my feet back under me and started giving it love and started sharing recipes, social media was coming on. I'm like, this is something that, you know, I want to do. And the more I did it, the more I wanted to do it. And now that's life. That's full time at Huntchef, helping people better prepare their harvest. You know, we've developed a whole product line now, 21 products, 12 seasonings, 9 kits, sausage, jerky, snack sticks, brines, and I can't get enough of it. I love it. It is my absolute passion. Talking to people about the outdoors, talking to people about who want to know where their food comes from. They want to have the relationship with their food, that whether they kill it or they grow it or they know where they're buying it from and have that relationship. Yep. Those are the people that, mostly I focus with. But in the meantime, if you want to take my stuff and buy the value pack of pork chops or chicken thighs at the grocery store or a box of rice and throw down on some Huntchef Wild Flavor, we're good for that too.
Yeah.
Was that too much?
No,
not
perfect.
at all. Not at all. So backing up there, you was talking about moving to West Virginia there for a few years. You was corporate chef there for the Greenbrier, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. The Greenbrier is obviously, just a beacon of American hospitality. It has been so since I think the late 1700s, if I remember right. People were coming to the mineral springs there. But right after Mr. Justice bought it, I had the good fortune to go down there and work for a little over 2 years as the corporate chef and vice president of food and beverage. Now imagine no beard and suit and tie every day and about 30 pounds heavier all the way around.
Oh, man.
That was me then. But it was great. We opened a casino, reconcepted all the restaurants, did the first 2 PGA Tour events. I had a house in Maxwellton, West Virginia, not too far from White Sulphur Springs. I was honored to be a resident West Virginian in the Mountain State there for 2 years, a little over 2 years with that.
Awesome. So another thing that you all do on Tuesday nights that we were talking about there earlier, you all do Facebook Live shows where you cook live, and then those are also on Instagram and YouTube as well. Is that correct?
Facebook, Instagram, and our TikTok. If anybody out there in the Nature's Voice Nation world wanted to head over to our YouTube channel and click that subscribe button at Huntchef, and I'm sure if you haven't already at Nature's Voice, please do so.
Oh,
but
yeah,
we're trying to hit that first bar so we can go live on YouTube. We're not there yet, but Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, every Tuesday night, 7:30, we're cooking something wild and making it delicious.
Yeah, I've watched several of those, man, and I'm telling you, my mouth is watering every time I'm watching it. I was like, oh, my God.
Hey, I watched his latest one with them apples.
Oh, dude.
Oh, my God.
The heart was so good.
I bet. That's one of my favorite parts of the meal, or meat right there. I love the heart. Michael can vouch for that. He was like, I can't believe you eat that just like that. And I'm like, man, it's...
Well, see, I've never had it that way. I want to have it like you cooked it, Chef.
Yeah.
But I've only had it in jerky. We sliced it up and put it in with our jerky, and I'm going to fix it like you did.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, whether it's jerky, stuffed, baked, pickled, brined, sliced and ring, sauteed. I've cut it in like ribbons and cooked it like fajita meat. I mean, just so much. It's very versatile. But, the only thing I would say is that the older or bigger the animal, if it's past a 1.5 year old kind of deer or beef or whatnot, you're going to want to clean it up a little bit, soak it in some salt water, or even one of the things I've been doing lately is I'll make a brine with my Canadian carnivore or 10 ring seasonings and put it in the fridge and that with cold water for a couple days, and it will pull a lot of that iron flavor out of it that seems to turn a lot of people off. So anyhow, I just sliced that one in rings. It was a 1.5 year old deer, and man, it was good.
Yeah, it looked amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, it did. I was looking. I was like, man, I ain't got no cherries. I know I got a heart still in the freezer. I ain't got no cherries. I ain't got no apple. My son eats all the apples, so that's hard to keep them.
Well, I was going through the grocery store. I'm like, I got to get some stuff for the live tonight, and I saw that bag of cherries there. I'm like, this would make a great sauce pairing with the Helltown beer, the Russian Imperial Stout I had in the fridge. Just so 30 plus years later, again, I'm dating myself here. Cooking professionally, those are the thoughts that just go through my mind, right? And man, did it work out great. Holy smokes, it was good.
Hey, don't worry about that age there. With age comes wisdom, brother.
That's right. See these crow
Exactly.
feet. They mean something, right? I've earned all those.
That's
all right.
right.
You got that good looking beard to go with it.
Yeah.
So out of these shows and everything, or even through your career, what's one of your favorite dishes that you've ever cooked?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Oh yeah, you should have been prepared.
Oh, yeah. Knew it was coming.
And I always tell everybody, while I have eaten, just through those 22 years of just seriously high level cuisine, like I was honored to work with people and put together teams and work together to put legitimate mobile and Forbes 5 stars over the doors of restaurants and hotels. So the food that I've been part of, the ingredients I've been able to fortunate enough to eat over the years is unbelievable. But I would say that anything that opens people's eyes to understanding how good game can be, that's my new favorite dish. And you guys are mentioning about the heart we did last week on live with the cherries and the apples and whatnot. So my youngest daughter's 14, and she didn't want to be on the live broadcast. She was sitting over here, out of the way. And at the end, she comes up with a fork and stabs like this big ring of heart and just starts macking on it, right? And the whole time, like,
Dang.
as a dad, I knew she didn't listen to me what I was cooking, right?
Yeah.
And when she eats the last bite, I'm like, how did you enjoy that heart? And she was like, that was your heart? I'm like, yep. So that made it my new favorite dish right there. Does that
That's
work?
awesome. That works great. That's perfect. Hey, I can agree with that, man. Anytime you can get somebody that doesn't quote unquote like something to absolutely fall in love with it, and then when you tell them, they're kind of disgusted, but they're like, I would eat that again.
Well, and that's it's just getting people to understand. It's like, you guys tried to buy eggs lately. They're what, $1 an egg, or plus minus a little bit. I mean, it's crazy. So the people that
they're dealing them down
coops,
here like drugs.
just bigger pills, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But so people that have those coops in their backyard, I mean, they're not crazy, right? They know exactly what we're feeding that chicken. They know exactly what they're getting out of it, and the cost is whatever that input cost is to get that egg out. And they're the ones that are laughing loudest and the hardest right now because they've got the healthiest eggs and the cheapest eggs, and that's part of what we try and do at Huntchef with the wild harvest. You buy that hunting license, you buy that fishing license. And how do you make the most out of it? People talk about, there's a lot of folks that got it down that eat out of their freezer, for the year. They might get their whole deer ground. They might, get, I don't know, 100 geese, 20 geese, whatever the case might be. They get all their breasts in one pile. They get all their legs in another pile. They clean them up. They freeze them. And, they're chuckling when, beef chuck that's now $6, $7, $8 a pound, when it used to be $1.99, it's like, nope, I got a freezer full. It cost me, $160 for my tag. And I got squirrel, rabbit, grouse, deer, bear, whatever. And of course, all the fish side, everything. That's where I think a lot of folks need to get back to because one, it's healthier. Two, it's more, family friendly. And three, it helps bring that relationship that I talked about at the very beginning, growing up with my grandparents here in Southwest PA. Where your food comes from. There's no Monsanto feed. There's no XYZ company fertilizer or what's the injection? Antibiotics, hormones.
Yeah, and
it's
hormones.
just what's out there. So I don't know. I'm sorry. I ramble a little bit. I get so excited and passionate about this stuff that it excites me very much.
I mean, that's one of the things we love, man. I mean, when you was doing the shows there in Charleston, you did 2 cooking demos right there on stage here at the Charleston show. And man, I tell you, that was so good. I mean, it flowed so well, and it's a natural thing for you. So tell us a little bit about the Charleston show. How did you enjoy it, and how was it compared to some of the other shows you've been to?
I hadn't been to it before. I'd heard great things. And, it is so long standing. I think this was the 35th year. And what set the tone for me, I'm sure you all were right there in it, Friday when the show opened up, I think at noon. And, it's up there on the Jumbotron. And I know the whole place could hear it, but, the show kicked off with the Pledge of Allegiance and then the national anthem. I was like, this is my kind of show. And then the folks that came through the course of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the attendees were very respectful. I feel like, from being there as a businessman, most people were buyers, which is a big deal if you're setting up to go to shows. And that's where, as we travel the circuit, every year, probably the best industry blessing a show can get is for a vendor to say everybody that was there was a buyer. That's like, okay, that's a red flag, or not a red. That's a green flag, green light, to go.
Yeah.
But Sam, the president of the Trophy Hunters Association, and all the members. I mean, I know more than back my trailer in, and there were 3 of those guys standing there at the dock. How can we help you? And they're like, bring stuff out. They had a big cart, helped us wheel in, and it was great from start to finish. Sales were strong. I really enjoyed the opportunity to do the demonstrations. They were really well received. It was funny. Not as many people watched like through the demo, but once I said on microphone, who wants to try some backstrap? Boy, a lot of people showed up.
Yeah.
Ring that dinner bell.
Now, you was talking there a little bit about how good sales and stuff were. I'm pretty sure, didn't you run out of some stuff and had to get some new brought in?
We sold out of 4 seasonings and had to get a little bit of backup delivered at the last so we could finish Sunday. Our show in Ohio didn't go quite as good. I mean, you have winners and you have ones that aren't quite in the W category, but worked out great for us. And Sunday was a good day for us.
Well, we was definitely glad to have you. And, we had met there at the Morgantown show just briefly because that was our first time meeting. And the Morgantown show last year was pretty busy. And I'm glad we finally got to, talk with you there at the Charleston show and get to know you a little better. So
how about
it was definitely a great time all the way around.
Well, I wish we could have found a minute to crack a beer, but it just wasn't in the cards. Maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time. We definitely can't wait till next year. And, like I said, it was so busy. I mean, I'm glad everybody came out, and I'm glad people, put their money back locally. We were talking there on the last podcast that we done, and, we did the numbers and things, and after the show, we looked over things, and we put like 30-some% back into the local economy, not only just at the show, but just around Charleston itself, and that's just us. Yeah. It brings a lot of good business to Charleston, and we love it.
Well, I'd say, just sitting here and knowing my business model, we were probably 25% back in the local economy between the Airbnb, fuel, food, et cetera. So I would bet we were probably 25% of our gross there back in the local economy. And, I think we'll probably see each other at the Morgantown show, but more importantly to me, I'm kind of sitting up here in PA waiting for an invite to come turkey hunting in West Virginia with you guys.
Hey, brother, you come on down. You're more than welcome. We got some places we can put you on some birds.
But more important to me, I got somebody. Warren, come here.
He's bringing out the big guns.
This is really for me, and I'm sorry this is a little bit impromptu. Come here, pal.
No, you're
good.
He's
bringing out the big guns right there.
That I'm hoping we can get down there with you all to see what those calls will do.
Yes,
hi,
definitely.
Hi.
So, hey, buddy, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Yeah, you get down here. We'll put you.
Yeah.
We'll try to get you on a bird anyhow. I know where there's a few sitting.
Yep. We'll get you on a bird, and we'll get you the calls to go with it. How's that sound?
Good.
He's very excited right now. I think he's eating some. What are you eating? Chicken and fries?
Yeah.
He's eating chicken. I had to pull him off his schoolwork and his chicken and fries to come say hi. But hey,
he wants to get back to dinner.
He does. But anyhow, you get us down there. This is the one that's going to be on the gun, okay?
Yep,
Awesome.
bring Ward on down.
All right. But we're that would be awesome. I mean, I've held probably through the years probably 15 at least non-resident licenses in West Virginia, and I've only ever killed one turkey there. So
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't have the right call apparently.
Yep, that's right. You
Yeah,
didn't know us.
our calls are kind of like you remember that show, the Bladesmiths one, where they got that one judge there, and he gets done slicing something, and he says that'll kill. That's kind of like our calls that will bring them in.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep. All right, so let's go into the Huntchef experience there that you just recently had in Illinois, and you've had it in a couple other states.
So, this past one we just did at Holy Pursuit Outfitters in West Central Illinois. The Turner family, amazing people, and they're actually West Virginia natives. Shiloh and Hannah and Shiloh's dad Kevin, and in addition to the outfitting business that they operate in Illinois, they also operate the Holy Pursuit Dream Foundation. And I mean, they're just selfless Christian folk that they love getting people outdoors. And obviously, they're going to make a living, so that's they run Holy Pursuit Outfitters out of Rushville, Illinois. Beautiful lodge. They start from opening weekend in Illinois and go right through the end of their bow season, which is what our most recent experience hunt was. And again, great people. So, and this is our third experience hunt with them. We needed cold weather. We had worked into the cost of the hunt to have standing crops available for all the hunters. And I think our coldest night was maybe 19 degrees, which,
Oh, wow.
if you're hunting big bucks, like big 5, 6, 7-year-old mature Illinois whitetails, that's not getting them out of bed early, in daylight. So we only had one shooter show up in the mid 40s, and a guy that's been on, it was his third Huntchef experience, and he was on a great buddy of mine, Josh Doverspike. He operates Buffalo Creek Outdoors. He's right up in Southwest PA, north of us, where I grew up. But he passed on him on that first day, and it was like one of those deals. Josh, don't pass on the first day. You would shoot on the last day. But anyhow, it was a great camp. You'll see soon on social media more and more of what we did in camp there, and how my vision for these experience hunts is that we get more old school hunting camp back into those hunts. Because for most of the 2000s, I would go and book a hunt, whether it was rut, muzzleloader, whatever, in the Midwest, and it would just be me. I would show up at this outfitter lodge and okay, we got you set up, and you would go to sleep. You would get up, you would get maybe something to eat. You grab your scent-free shower, pack your pack with a snack, and then you went to a tree or a blind, and there you stayed for the next 12 hours. And then after dark, you come back and you get a decent meal, maybe chit-chat a little bit, but then you're going back to bed, and then you're getting up before light, shower, and you repeat that for 5 days. And you never really get to know anybody there unless you stay up late. And there's always a couple that, like to, some camaraderie and chit chat, but it's just never like old school hunting camp where you hang out, you process together, you hunt, you come back, and I get everybody in the kitchen cooking together. And so those experience hunts have been really good for us. We did an amazing veterans experience hunt in Kentucky that we got completely funded with donations in the 22 season. And we're working on putting together a veterans only, probably going to take 6 fishing experience trip out of Port Clinton, Ohio, with full load charters. So stay tuned for more info on that. But our TV show that we're partners in on the Sportsman Channel is called Mountaintop Outdoors. And I think tonight is episode 6 is airing. No, sorry, Wednesday night episode. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern. And then we'll take a break and replay some episodes. But when the next episodes start to air after that, you'll see what we do in the kitchen there. And you would have seen a lot of it in our season 2 episodes too.
Yeah.
I'm rambling. I'm sorry, but I just
No, you're
again,
good.
I get fired up about what we do. Hey, I'm going to
Hey,
let this guy
that's-
get back to his chicken and fries.
Yeah, it's gonna get cold, brother.
Yeah, you better go eat there, Warren.
Hey, tell him you can't
Good
wait.
seeing you, Warren.
You can't wait to get down there and try those calls and hunt those birds.
Yeah.
He's
We'll
very
have one
excited.
ready for you. At least a call, maybe not the bird.
All right.
He'll be more excited than that when he gets down
He
here. That's
will.
for sure.
They make the call?
Oh, they make them.
Oh.
I'll tell you all about it here in a little bit.
Yeah, and we'll definitely have one ready for you too, so you can practice.
Awesome.
But yeah, that Huntchef experience there, that's an awesome thing because, you know, sometimes we get caught up into the deer camp that we know and think that everybody has that experience because it's what we've grew up in.
Yep.
And, you know, like you saying, you know, it's you're going and hunting, but, you know, in real deer camp, you know, you're going to hunt, you come back, you eat lunch at camp, you sit around, you talk a little bit, and you sit by the fire that usually somebody has a camp chef. That's the way it was with us. I mean, we had my uncle, he was the camp chef. He hunted probably 4 times out of the 30 years that I went to deer camp with him. You know, he was just the hunt chef. And, you know, every time we'd come back in for lunch or whatever, he'd have something there for us to eat. We'd come back in the evenings and he'd have dinner ready. And you're standing by the campfire and you're telling how your day was and different things like that. So I think it's an awesome thing, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I wonder if we could do a deer camp and have Huntchef as our camp chef. Yeah.
Mm.
Listen, I mean, I'm all about, you know, spreading eat what you kill gospel and making new friendships and then sharing that, you know, via social, via TV, YouTube.
Definitely.
But that's the kind of stuff that really keeps me going. And, you know, and like this one that was just right here.
Yep.
It's so much these days, you know, as a parent, because when I talked about how I grew up, you know, in the 70s in Southwest PA, there weren't video games until the 80s. I don't know, I was 10 or however old. You know, you had that Saturday morning cartoons. There was no YouTube. The sports thing, I mean, maybe you played baseball in the spring, little league, and then maybe you wrestled or played football in the fall, but it wasn't this constant, okay, we're going to do basketball, and then we got spring soccer, and then we got baseball, and then we got summer soccer, and then we got summer baseball, and then we got track, and then we've got basketball camp. Now, football camp conditioning starting, and it's never ending. These kids, and then you throw on top of that, all the social media stuff. It's like, I tell everybody all the time, you know, one of the biggest pieces of what I want to do with Huntchef is, you know, help kids, new hunters, late adult onset hunters, you know, understand that the kill, the harvest, the chase is amazing, and there's nothing like it. But once you bring that harvest, break it down yourself, clean it yourself, vacuum seal it, freeze it, get it out, and then make it a delicious deal on the plate and help kids understand, make that connection. Okay, I took this life, I took it apart, I cooked it, I ate it, and it's delicious. That is what so many people are missing these days. That and they're just too busy, you know, or they've been conditioned to not understand it.
You know, like you're saying that you have all these different sports and things, and nowadays we actually have to make time in our busy schedules to hunt. Like what you were saying, back when we were kids, I never once had to make time to go hunt. It just happened, you know? I mean, it was something that we done every year. And it's like pulling teeth to get time to do that these days with all the things that's going on in a child's life.
I mean, at 12, 13, 14 years old, I got off the bus, I ran to the house, I changed my clothes, I threw my orange vest on, I grabbed a shotgun, and I ran straight up the hill, and I went to kill squirrels. And it was the only thing I wanted to do. And then we ate them all. And that just is, there's not enough of that. There's not enough time for that. And, you know, times change, you know, things change. But to not have that perspective, and then, or to have it and then not share it, not force it down people's throats, but to not share it, you're doing a big disservice to the next generation. And that's where, I just try to open people's minds. And especially as far as getting new hunters and kids into this outdoor deal and
Definitely.
helping them understand how good it can be and how good it is for them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of backing up there, you was talking about your veteran fishing trip you're getting ready to put together. Another thing we like to do on our podcast is our salute to valor. So tonight, we're going to salute Aaron Futrell. He was born in Akron, Ohio. He served in the United States Army. He served for 20 years between Germany, Fort Bragg, and he was also in the National Guard. He was the staff sergeant at the end of his career. He did one tour to Afghanistan and one tour to Iraq, where he was awarded the Purple Heart, I'm sure among other medals. But he was discharged in May the 22nd. I'm not sure of what year, but he did complete 20 years of service, so he definitely got a full ride out of that. So, sir, we want to thank you for your service and your sacrifice to this great country.
Amen to that. And, to that point, it's so awesome you guys do that salute. And that's part of, when you think about, we talked about, or I was yapping about people not having the time available. But you think about them, if you're active duty military for 20 years or 10 or 4, 50, 30, I don't know. But what are your opportunities to hunt, or fish? And that is, those opportunities are probably so few and precious, because if you get time off, you're probably going to go see family. And if you're fortunate enough for that time off to see family, involve something in the outdoors, that's great. But, they're doing that personal sacrifice, towing a line for us, back home every day. But just think about that. I mean, out of 20 years of service, how many opportunities did that American hero have to hunt or fish? So that's part of what's fueling, what I try to do with these experience hunts. I'm no saint. I don't have a charity, but man, whatever I can do to get it going, I'm going to do it.
That all depends, talking about how much time they got to hunt. When I was up at Fort Drum, I had a pretty decent amount of time to hunt. Like on a weekend, if we wasn't in the field training and it was hunting season, we had the options, we had the opportunities to go out to these ranges.
Wow, that's great.
And we could turkey hunt, we could deer hunt, bird hunt, whatever was available in that area. We had that opportunity on our downtime. So if a man wanted to and had the time, yep, it was nice, because some of them northern New York bucks are pretty good size.
I guarantee it. In high school, so many, I'm sure in my age group, my mind was set up. I was going to be a Navy SEAL because I'd watched the Rambo movies and everything else. And so in my junior year of high school, I went and I took was it called the ASVAB test, maybe, at the recruiter's office? Did that.
Yep.
But then the late summer, just before I started my senior year in high school, I blew up my left ACL, had to have it reconstructed. And the Navy said, thanks, but no thanks. So I went from wanting to be a Navy SEAL to being a chef. So I don't know, but my heart and appreciation is there. And I just want to keep doing what we can do.
You can look at it this way. You went from getting smoked to smoking meat.
There you go.
Yeah. I always wondered, though, learning to squirrel hunt and deer hunt with my granddad and the woodsmanship and the woodscraft that I grew up with, how that would have, prepared me for a battlefield. And obviously, at this point, I don't think, I'll ever find out. And that's probably for the best. But I don't know. You watch what was the Jimmy Stewart movie, Sergeant it was like from the 20s or 30s or 40s. I can't remember now. Sergeant York. And, he licks the back of his V of his open gun sight, and he starts shooting from the back of the flock to the front, so that, because if you kill the leader, then the flock goes like this and you lose all your targets. All that stuff has just stuck with me and resonated with me for years. And I know I'm way off point here, but These are the things that you find out when you start asking me
Absolutely.
questions. Hey,
Hey,
give me a
that's great.
microphone.
That's awesome. We love it.
No, it's good. No, I just want to thanks for Aaron there for his service, and Mr. Trail. He was he is the author of several books, and the Deer Stand Devotional is one of them, and another one is Why We Hunt. So if you have a chance, check those books out there. We plan on having him on the podcast as well. So I reached out to some people there on Facebook because we're lacking people for veterans to our salute. And he was one of the first ones to answer back to that call and give us his information. So we thank you, Mr. Fertel, for your service to our great country.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, Chef Dan, what'd you make for dinner tonight?
Actually, my wife made most of it, but we did fish.
Chef Dan just supervises.
Yeah. Hey, that's my profession. I'm a watcher. Make sure they do it right. I gave her some pointers though. I said,
That's
hey,
what he
why don't
does
you...
for a living. He inspects.
That's right. I made sure she got in the pantry or in the spice cabinet and got some of that Huntchef seasoning out. We put some straight out of the Poncha train on some fish tonight. Ooh, I mean to tell you, you can't much beat that stuff, man. I'm telling you, I've literally started throwing out seasonings because I don't want nothing but that.
Boy, I'm telling you, that one that you're talking about, I can't say it, so I'm not even going to try.
Poncha train, Michael.
And then we got the party fowl, which is amazing. We use it in our soups. We use it on chicken and pasta and all kinds of stuff. Then we got the taco takedown we substitute the taco packets from the store with taco takedown. You do not need any more packets from the store. All you got to do, put the Huntchef in there.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I'm just like, man, I'm going through this stuff a little faster than I think I should be, but I'm going to need cases of it, I think.
We can help you with that.
Yep.
That's fine. I'll get it. I'll continue to get it. I mean, it's a great product. Like I said, she made baked potatoes as well. So I was like, wonder what would be good on that. So I grabbed, Smoky Bayou. Dusted that potato down with some Smoky Bayou. Oh my God.
Change your life.
It did change my life. I'm like, baby, you got to get up here and try this, because she just, butter and bacon bits or bacon chunks and sour cream and stuff. And I'm like, you've got to dust that with this. It's life changing.
Well,
Yep. I think we ran.
Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Go ahead, Chef. No, go ahead, Chef. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I get the feedback a lot. People are like, why do you have 12 seasonings? Why don't you just do 2 or 3 and, go as good? I'm like, I can't, 30 plus years later as a professional chef. I mean, what's the saying? Variety is the spice of life. Well, you can survive on salt and pepper every day. And like, maybe I'll throw a little garlic powder or onion salt or whatever the case is, this or that. But, what I've tried to do is design flavors that will bring out the natural flavor and help enhance that flavor from wild game. And what I wound up with was seasonings that are great on everything, from baked potatoes to rice. I have folks that tell me they won't eat an egg unless they have all dusted up on it. So it has been, a passion of mine. And that's what, I built this company and brand around, because, not everybody knows it, but, I operated a barbecue operation for about a dozen years. And when I tell people at these outdoor shows, like where we're at, that I cooked or my staff, myself cooked, 60,000 pounds of pork shoulder a year with low down and dirty rub, 20,000 pounds of brisket a year with big sexy beast rub, 40,000 pounds of chicken thighs and half chickens with 10 ring. Some understand that and some don't. I mean, this is what a very successful, and delicious, business was founded around, and it's great with the game stuff. So we're going to keep hammering. I mean, that's what we do. It's the only way I know how to roll. And I really appreciate hearing from you guys. But man, Mike, I'm glad you mentioned party foul. because it's a sleeper of the bunch. And Chef Dan,
Oh,
you
yeah, it
take
is.
50% Party Foul and 50% Smoky Bayou, make that little marriage. Look out.
I'll try that on
man.
something.
out.
What do you recommend on that for that?
Whatever you want.
All right,
Probably
I'll
not a
make something
beef-
tomorrow.
He said it's good on
Probably
everything.
not a beefsteak, but pork chops, chicken, veggies, sides, even probably like a white fish fillet, like a perch or walleye, even trout. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I've noticed that with the party foul. I mean, we can put it on vegetables. Oh
Yeah.
my God, it's so good.
So I think at the Charleston show, I think I got 5 or 6 of the seasonings. So I'm 6 away, at least 6 away, maybe 7. I don't remember what I bought now. All I know is I got them, and they're great.
You got to
So
get
I'm
the
gonna
whole
definitely-
delicious dozen.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Hopefully, you guys will see you at the Morgantown show,
Oh, yeah.
or either that, or try to get down for the Summersville one. That's a pretty good one as well.
I heard
And
that. I got
I will.
to trade an email with you guys about those dates for that Summersville show.
Yeah, we'll get you hooked
Yeah.
up there. You'll like it.
Oh, it's a really good turnout. We had a lot of fun at that one. But yeah, I'll definitely have to pick up the rest of the dozen there.
So this year, there at the Summersville show, they've got some of the Duck Dynasty people coming in.
Oh, nice.
They've got some of the Mountain Monsters guys coming in. So they usually have a couple different celebrities in the outdoor industry come in, and they'll, just hang out with the vendors and things like that, walk around and,
Yeah.
just kind of spend time with everybody and kind of, spice up the atmosphere a little bit.
So we had the Mountain Monsters folks come through here. I don't know. It's been 5 or 6 years now. But what's the military guy with the Mountain Monsters? Is he still part of that?
That's William Neff.
Maybe it's
Yep, they called him Wild Bill.
Wild Bill. That's him.
That's him.
So I met Wild Bill, right? And we spent probably more time together than we should have. But at the time, I was operating a restaurant here locally, and we had what we called a bike night. So we'd have 200 to 400 motorcycles, most Harleys, and we had the barbecue, we had a band, everything. But to kick it off every year, we did midget wrestling. And so these guys were, I see you laughing, but it was, that wrestling troupe were such awesome people. I can't even begin to tell you. But the year that the Mountain Monsters guys and Wild Bill came through, he got up in the ring, got the American flag, and is waving it as we kicked it off with the national anthem and everything. And he's got the salute. I mean, to tell you, it was such an amazing situation. But so that's my Mountain Monster story. And I know I didn't do it
Wild
justice,
Bill.
but I've got pictures to share with you
That's
at some
crazy.
point.
We've got a video on our YouTube page. So Wild Bill was at the Charleston show last year.
Was it?
And he comes through and he comes over to our booth, and he's just standing around talking. And with Dan being in the military there, they were talking military and all this stuff. And Wild Bill was a Marine, and he was standing there, and he's like, "You got any crow calls?" I think it was a crow call. It was either a crow call or an owl call. I said, "Yeah, I sure do." So we were standing there, and I was showing him how to use it and all this, and I said, "Here you go." I said, "You can have this one." He said, "Oh, no." He's like, "No, what makes you think you can just give that to me because I'm on Mountain Monsters?" I said,
Yeah, it sure
"No."
did.
I said, "I want to give it to you because I want to." I said, "It's not because you're famous or you're on TV." I said, "It's because I want to give it to you." And he's like, "No, I'm not taking it." So I stuck it. I told him, I said, "I'm going to stick it in your damn pocket then." So I stuck it in his pocket, and we about started to wrestle right there in the freaking Civic Center.
Yeah,
I can see that happening 100%. Our little corner market here, great family owns it, and still right there, you come in, you look right, and a picture of him, he signed it and hung it up there. So I'm reminded of him at least a couple times a week as I visit that market, but interesting.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He signed one of our pot calls that I've got here in my case at the house, and he signed a hat for my brother-in-law for Christmas this year. And it was great. I mean, he's a great guy to be around.
Is that what do you got up behind you there? Is that a walleye? What's on the
that?
wall?
Yeah, that's a walleye back there.
That's a pretty good fish, fella.
Yeah, it wasn't one I caught. We have a charter friend of ours. He had that at his booth, and he broke the tail off of it, at a show, and he was going to throw it away. And
What?
I'm like, you're not throwing that fish away. So I hung it on my wall.
Heck yeah.
I ain't like them ones that'll hang stuff up and say, yeah, that's mine. I caught it.
We know better than that, Michael. You don't get to go
No.
fishing anyhow.
Yeah,
I'm
I
so
fish a
glad
lot,
I asked
man.
about it. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, that's great. Hey, so talking about your motto there, eat what you kill.
Yeah.
Let's dive into a little bit of these unusual meats here. Some like coyote or bobcat, even possum, anything like that. Have you cooked much of that, or
Yeah,
what's that all about?
And it's not for like, shock factor, reality TV kind of stuff. It is to try and understand, new to me proteins and how to, best prepare them. And, when you're talking to a guy like me that grew up eating 100 squirrels a year when I was a kid, there's not, and trapping for possum, trapping for raccoon. I mean, there's not a lot that phases me. Um, and now, I kind of get a little bit of a kick out of it, but for the most part, I have cooked coyote now probably 8 times. Every time they've been
Wow.
harvested here in Southwest PA, either via trap line, run by dogs, or shot with a thermal. And they've all been delicious. I haven't really been
Yeah.
able to, I couldn't tell you that one that was caught in a trap versus one that was run by
Okay.
dogs versus one that was run by thermal was any less gamey, better or worse, what have you. So,
Sure.
and I've cooked backstrap and I have cooked hind leg roasts. So speaking of podcasts, so actually the last time I cooked coyote was almost a year ago. There's a podcast out there called Working Class Bow Hunter. Those guys are out of Illinois. Great, crazy crew, but they're all about killing big deer and how to do it and having fun and drinking that stuff. It's in your hand there. That I've seen a time or two. But so we were at the outdoor show in Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin, and we rented a little Airbnb house. I mean, tiny little house. It was fine, but we invited those guys over and we cooked coyote live, and they couldn't believe it. I blew their minds with it. So definitely that. I've cooked bobcat from here in actually was trapped just over the line from us in West Virginia. And it was probably some of the best meat I ever ate. We talked earlier about my experience hunts. So this last one in Illinois with Holy Pursuit Outfitters, if you guys are on social, you're going to want to look for Wild Gourmet, and that's WYLD Gourmet, and a lady named Margie Nelson. I mean, she is the real deal out of Livingston, Montana. I mean, this lady goes and cooks for, as just her, as a lady, and cooks for like 20 dudes in bear camp and elk camp and deer camp, whatever, and holds her own and throws down. So she brought black bear backstrap. She brought mountain lion bottom round, and she brought elk and I think antelope too. And we cooked them all. And I'm here to tell you that if you do you have in my low down and dirty, Chef Dan, my low down and dirty sweet and smoky barbecue rub?
No, I think that was one I hadn't purchased yet. I'll have it soon.
You got to get it in your life.
I've had it.
Anyhow,
Okay.
but so we took those these beautiful cutlets, single muscle pieces out of that. I think they were actually mountain lion bottom rounds. Seasoned them up with low down and dirty all around, and then pan roasted them. Actually, we just started posting reels about it, but you'll see it on the Sportsman channel on Mountaintop Outdoors. But that mountain lion, and again, I had bobcat, and it was phenomenal. The mountain lion was like some of the best pork you've ever eaten without the natural pork fat. And I'm not saying it was dry because it wasn't. And we just cooked it just medium, and just a little bit more. And man, it was lights out. There wasn't a bit left. Everybody in camp tore it up.
No,
And
have you
so
done any?
I've cooked raccoon, but I have yet to cook a possum.
I was going to say, have you done anything like more exotic, like which we don't really have around our areas, like a porcupine or
I have
anything
not
like
cooked
that?
porcupine. I've only ever seen a porcupine in the woods once. If I didn't even know if they're protected here in PA or anywhere else I go or not. Um, but on the menu this year is definitely crow. I'm going to cook
Ooh.
I've ate a
groundhog.
lot of that.
I've cooked
Yeah,
groundhog.
you've
I've
ate a lot
cooked
of crow,
beaver.
Dan.
I've cooked muskrat.
Oh wow.
So there's a lot, but there's still more to go. And the antelope was great. The black bear backstrap was phenomenal. The elk was great, and of course I cooked lots of that stuff. But I've cooked plenty of rattlesnake. It doesn't have a lot of flavor, but it's got good texture. So my son Warren, who was here a little bit ago, we've got the opportunity to go to South Florida this year and try and catch some of those invasive pythons. And he was like,
yeah.
maybe not, but we'll see.
Well, he knows the motto: you eat what you kill.
That's right. I actually trademarked that.
So what about
Did you?
armadillo?
Nice. I was just getting ready to say armadillo, Michael.
Was you?
Yeah,
That's what I
was
was thinking
absolutely.
No, and I lived and worked in South Georgia for 4 years in the mid 2000s, and it was great. I loved it. You mentioned Smoky Bayou earlier. It was one of the inspirations really to create that seasoning, and that's the only place I've only ever seen an armadillo. And as much as people throw the trichinosis word around with coyote and some others, the whole leprosy thing with armadillos, I would want to work with an expert on them before I just grabbed one, ripped the shell off of it, and cooked it. So,
Yeah.
anybody out there want to email me or message a page if you got some armadillo recipes or some how to or what to do? I'm all ears.
I think
Awesome.
that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think that'd be neat. That's kind of like
Yeah, you're talking about that trichinosis, and isn't that actively in pork?
So trichinosis really hasn't been actively in pork commercially for decades, but it has stuck around, and trichinosis really is a worm and kind of a viral worm. But without getting into all that, if you have healthy animals, you don't have trichinosis. And if you have commercially raised pork, you pretty much don't have trichinosis. So it's a lot like, poultry and I just drew a blank. I should know all this off by heart.
Waterfowl.
Well, but what's the deal if you undercook poultry? I've only dealt with this for about 35 years of my adult life. Anyhow, but there's an infectious agent, viral deal in poultry. If you don't cook
That's
it,
not salmonella, right?
salmonella. Oh my goodness! Thank you so much. Why would
that's why I'm a chef too.
Maybe I should have a bush light in my hand. Oh my goodness!
He's a chef inspector.
I feel terrible.
See, I'm the chef inspector. See, that's what it is.
But again, if you have healthy animals and you know where you've harvested them, you know what they've eaten, you don't have to cook it to sawdust. You're going to be just fine. So
yeah, definitely. And that's why I think most people get weirded out about coyotes because they think of what they eat and different things like that. But you just look at a pig. Look at what a pig eats. A pig will eat anything you put in front of it.
Look what's in a McDonald's hamburger. Come on. Try and pronounce the ingredients on a box of cereal.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And you're going to worry about a coyote eating a 3-day dead rabbit. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
that's true.
So how is the coyote? I mean,
it's delicious.
What's the process in that?
When I tell people that, in my experience, I like the first ever bite I took was in like 2018, I think. And my first food taste memory was that it tasted like a mild grass-fed beef. And
really,
I kind of still stick to that. And I don't know why, but that is the flavor that I associate with it. That it's and the biggest thing for people is getting past how big their hide stinks or how bad their hide stinks, right? They're like, I can't even get past the smell of them. I just kick them in a ditch. Great. However, there's a lot of great protein under there, and I promise you, you get that hide off. And I mean, think about, I mean, how does a rutted up buck that you killed on November 15th smell like something you want to slap on a dinner plate? Nope.
No.
Right? I mean, does the walleye that you caught at 7 o'clock this morning at 8 p.m. when you finally get it out of the cooler in the ice, to flay it and put it in the vacuum bag or in ice water, does that walleye skin smell like something you just want to take a big bite of? Nope. When's the last time you plucked a wild turkey and that smell or started taking the guts out of that turkey? You're like, man, give me some honey mustard or some Huntchef party foul.
I'm telling you.
I'm going to throw down right now. No, it just doesn't happen, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
wild turkey, man. I'm telling you, it's bad smell.
It can be, So I stick with. I think it was a famous war movie. The line came from "Free your mind and your ass will follow." So that's kind of where I'm at with food, especially wild harvested food. And if you want to kick the coyote in a ditch and go grab some pork chops out of the grocery store that have been fed a bunch of Monsanto, GMO, whatever for its whole life, and then vaccinated and everything else, that's okay too. That's why we live in America.
That's right. Like I said, I'm gonna catch me one. I'm getting ready to boil my trap. So
Come on, I want that black hide.
I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try to get you one. I know I got a couple running around up here. So I kill one. I'll get it to you. I'll let you know.
Come on.
But I'm gonna try to get Michael to try this backstrap when I cook it up.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to keep on trying for a while.
Nah, I'll just do one of them sneaky. Here, try this, Michael.
Yeah, I'll eat it if you don't tell me what it is.
About that thick in medallions. Put some of that Smoky Bayou on it. Let it sit there about 15 minutes, and then just get you a little bit of a good natural butter in the pan, and just to where it's going to brown a little bit in each side, and leave it just about medium well. He'll eat the whole pan, I promise you.
All right, we're gonna try it. I'm gonna do it.
I'm telling you, that's just nuts. All right, let's get into something we eat. Let's talk about waterfowl. We had a request earlier today. We got some guys looking for some waterfowl recipes. What you got? Let's hear it.
So for me, they're waterfowl, and whether it's ducks or geese, there are tons of options either way. I know folks that will only breast the birds, and then they're going to take those breasts, they're going to slice them, they're going to marinate them, they're going to make jerky. They're going to grind those breasts and make jerky. For me, eat when you kill, the same with wild turkey legs, grouse, pheasant, everything else. Those duck and goose legs are next to gold, I promise you. So but they cook different from the breast, right? You cook that breast super well done. It's just going to be dry. It's going to be sawdust. So for waterfowl, I almost always, will take the breast off, bone on, take the legs off, and then cook them and treat them absolutely separately. So the breast meat, whether it's ducks, geese, crane, whatever you're harvesting, I like it brined for about a day, and it can just be salt water in the fridge, or it can be Huntchef seasoning and water in the fridge, and then patted dry, seasoned on the outside, and then grilled, browned. You can once you grill it, brown it, marinate it. You can wrap it in bacon, finish it up, but almost never cook that past medium. The legs, again, wild turkeys, waterfowl, upland birds, don't breast those birds and leave the legs lay. You take them and, again, brine them for about a day, maybe 2 or 3. The bigger they are, the longer you brine them. And then season them, brown them, and then get them in that roaster, get them in a crock pot, get them in a big sauce pot on the stove, get some veggies in there, get some aromatics, get some seasonings and some broth or water, and then simmer them real slow until you can just, almost like if you're making squirrel gravy, you can pull that bone out of that meat. And then from there, you can have that, transform that into a soup, a stew, whatever you want, or you can drain that broth, save it to make a soup or stew, but then take that super tender meat and you can make tacos, dips, lasagna, filled pastas, add mayo, make it like chicken salad. There's just a bazillion things you can do. So my biggest waterfowl tip would be cook and treat the breast meat separate from the leg and wing meat. The breast, hot and fast for the most part, and the legs low, slow, and moist. Pressure cooker, crock pot, pot on a stove, or with a good water pan with low heat and smoke or something like that. But that would be it for waterfowl.
Okay, cool deal.
Yeah,
Well,
that's interesting.
we had some people asking about that, so I personally never cooked a duck myself. I've ate plenty of them, but have you cooked whole ones before? So what's your recipe for the whole duck itself instead of separating it out?
So if I'm going to do a whole, especially a wild harvest duck, I'm going to brine it. Like I have 3 brine kits, country style, brown sugar, sweet and spicy. But you can make kits with, or you can make your own brine, orange juice, salt, sugar, spices, what have you. And but I would brine it. And again, because that breast meat is going to get drier before the leg meat is like really tender, I would still cook that duck. Even if you started out in a smoker, I would take that and put it in something that was going to finish low, slow, and with moisture in it, and then just pull it apart. You can season the outside, get some smoke on it, whether you got something like a electric smoker, a pellet smoker, or a big offset, something like that. I would still finish that thing low, slow, and with moisture, and then you should be good to go. Pull apart tender, and then you can take it from there. Take those drippings, boil them down, add seasonings to that, add barbecue sauce to it, add honey, some orange juice, whatever. You can have a lot of fun, but just remember that breast meat. The longer you cook it, till it matches up with the tenderness in the legs, it's just going to get drier and drier and drier and drier.
Okay.
So that would be my tips on a whole duck or goose.
We had a buddy of ours that was doing goose, and he said, man, he was like, I have no idea how to cook it. He's like, I've tried so many different ways, and he said, my dog won't even eat it. So we've got to reach out to old buddy John there and give him some good goose recipes.
Now with that, like you talking about the wings and the legs and stuff, could you do them like a chicken wing or fry them up like that, or would it not cook fast enough?
Well, and that's the thing, your typical chicken wing. I mean, that bird lives its life like this. It's not flying one end of the continent to the other. So I would say mostly no. But just like, if I do buffalo fried squirrel legs, say, I'll brine them, I'll boil them, even to where the point where they're not fall apart tender, but they're getting there. Cool them down, and then toss them with some rice flour, egg, flour, panko, and then fry them from there. Then you're going to be okay. But if you just hack that wing off and throw it in a deep fryer, you're going to be really disappointed.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can see that. I didn't think of it in that aspect of it, flying back and forth.
I mean, they're
Canada to Louisiana.
Super athletes.
Yep. So
yeah, that's a big difference. And it's a muscle meat, pretty much, right?
Muscle meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've heard of duck fat being something that you use in a lot of different recipes and just to cook with in general. Fill us in a little bit about that.
So, duck fat is pretty much from farm raised ducks. There isn't, I haven't come across, a wild duck that has enough fat to pull off of it to render. Now, some geese I have seen, but more resident geese, they're just bigger. They're not as active and as, small and wiry as those ducks are. But farm raised duck fat, and whether you raise them yourself or you're buying a quality product that I can't remember the guy's name. We talk a lot on Instagram, but he's out of Nebraska, and he markets that duck fat spray. those are commercially raised ducks that fat's harvested from, and it's great. It's an awesome cooking liquid alternative, shortening alternative. But on the wild duck side, you'd have to kill a lot of a lot of ducks to be very meticulous. Almost take every bit of their skin you can and try and render it like pork cracklings to make lard. You'd be further ahead to fatten you up 8 or 10 ducks in the backyard, or just buy that rendered fat. But It's delicious.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was watching that one. Your last Tuesday's episode, you had that rendered deer fat.
Oh man,
I'm gonna have to. I didn't have a chance to back up and watch you do that episode of it where you did the rendering of it, but I'm gonna definitely give that a shot.
Yeah,
that looked.
And what I tell people, so many people are like, deer fat's waxy, it's terrible, it tastes. Every animal that you harvest, whether it's from your backyard or from the woods or the water or the sky, it is, it's just like your mom or your health teacher in school told you, you are what you eat. So if you kill a deer and it's been eating nothing but greenbrier nibbles and tree bark and maybe the occasional starting to go south acorn, it might not taste great. But if you're killing deer near cornfields, soybean fields, ag fields, hay, alfalfa, what I encourage folks to do is when you peel that hide off, get you a sliver of that fat, put it in a pan, low heat, brown it both sides, and just try it. If it tastes like something you don't want to eat, then don't render it, or render it and use it to steal your boots. Use it to shine the tires on your truck. There's a lot of uses there other than just cooking. But these days, so many people have leases. They're doing food plots. They're hunting on farms, and those deer. There's a lot of deer that are eating really good, so that aren't coming out of just eating some swamp grass, blah blah blah, all natural forage. It isn't modern ag kind of forage or really healthy acorn or chestnut or hickory flat kind of stuff. But just try a piece of the fat, fried lightly, and it's going to change, because the more you hang that deer, the more moisture it's going to come out of it. That's dry aging. But that's what I've done, and it works really good. I think I've got 6 quarts, and that's after I've rendered it twice. But I just take all that fat, chunk it up, put it in a pot just like you would pork fat or beef tallow or duck fat or chicken fat, and let it slow render. Don't rush it, don't scorch it, and I think you'll be pretty surprised what you come up with.
That's awesome.
Man,
yeah,
that's
I'm gonna give
crazy.
that a shot this next season here. Even maybe I may do some off that beef I getting ready to kill. But yeah, definitely. So backing up here a little bit, out there in Huntchef Nation, you guys have a local brewery that kind of has an official beer with you guys. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and where they're located and how you could even get it?
So Helltown Brewing started just down the road from us in Mount Pleasant, PA. Awesome brewery. Sean Gentry, the founder and brewer, just such an amazing collection of craft beer recipes, and they are the official beer of Huntchef Nation and Mountaintop Outdoors. We cook with them, we drink them, and right now, I'm not sure, their distribution footprint's not big, but boy, if you can get your hands on it, they do some awesome seasonal beers. They only do kegs and cans, and they have, I think, 4 other tap rooms now besides the main brewery that's in Export, PA. But great partners, great friends, and did I mention great beer?
I got a good idea.
Hit me.
So we bring you guys down here for a turkey hunt, and you can have us up there for some trout fishing, and we'll just stop in the brewery.
Trout fishing, steelhead fishing.
Listen, I'd love to see how those Nature's Voice calls work on PA birds. We're
Oh, they work good on PA
I'm going to tell you right
birds.
now, we're stacked up with birds here on the mountain where I live. Stacked up.
Yep.
We can come up and show
Yeah,
you
there's
how they work.
There's been a many of birds fall to our calls there in Pennsylvania.
We are stacked
there
up with
has.
birds.
That's great. That's a good problem to have.
Mm-hmm. I'm not complaining.
So you got me.
Well-
Oh, go ahead, Michael.
No, go ahead. Sorry, bud.
Oh no, he was talking about that wild gourmet. He got me. I got to looking at it and just scrolling through her page here. Oof.
Amazing food, amazing
Oh my
photographs.
gosh.
I mean, she's such a talent. She right now, if she's not there, she's on her way to the Bahamas to be lionfish spearfishing and grabbing up wild lobsters.
That must be what she's talking about on this post, especially I was looking at.
Yeah.
Hopefully next week, lionfish, lobster, ceviche, and maybe some fish and chips.
Yep.
Will be on her menu. So that's
nice.
That's pretty
and
cool.
She's throwing down with the Huntchef wild flavor. So I mean, it's going to be amazing.
I did see that.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. I seen that, and I might have to pick her brain a little bit. She's talking about scuba diving too. So that's right in my wheelhouse right there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, next time I go down to Florida, which will be July probably, may have to take some spear guns and do some lionfish hunting and bring you back something.
You better.
We'll cook up some lionfish. I've never got to try it, and I've always wanted to, but it's kind of like that armadillo thing. You know, you got to know what you're doing with the lionfish. It could be poisonous.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it'd kill you in a heartbeat.
Yep.
So he's a wannabe chef, and he's also SpongeBob SquarePants.
Hey, I'll eat a pineapple under the sea.
Come on.
Yep, I hear you. Oh, okay. So getting back into the seasonings here, another one of y'all's mottos is wild flavor.
Yes, sir.
So what is one of the wildest meats that you've ever cooked, and what is your favorite meat to cook with?
So wildest is probably just here a couple weeks ago with that mountain lion. I mean, you know, we cooked bobcat, we cooked coyote, raccoon, bear. But that mountain lion, you know, and it was an old Tom from Wyoming that was a hound,
Wow.
you know, chase kill. So, you know, it had to be, you know, all adrenaline up, and it just ate great. You know, as far as probably, you know, going back to my fancy, you know, 5-star resort chef days, really good. Osetra and beluga caviar is up there. Really good. Hard to find. Small Northwest Coast oysters are right up there. Really good. New York raised goose foie gras is up there. And there's really nothing like fresh clams and fresh scallops. I don't know. Those would probably be my top 5. I mean, you know, venison, I love it. Squirrel, I love it. All of it. But I don't know. That's amazing stuff, and it'll always be right here for me, waiting for the next bite.
Yeah,
some of that sounded out of our wheelhouse, Michael.
Let me cook it for
you. Definitely.
All right. I like caviar.
We'll have to have chef
I've
cook for us.
never had high-end caviar.
Man.
I can't say.
There's nothing like it.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Piece of perfectly toasted bread with some real sweet cream, unsalted butter on it, and then a big dollop of that caviar. Shut the door. Change your life.
Oh my God, he's got me.
I can see that.
Got me one to eat now.
What's one of your favorite fish to cook up there? Like, you like perch? I mean, that's one of my favorite, perch or walleye.
Yeah, I mean, perch is amazing. Walleye is great. You know, we get a lot of it. And doing the walleye wings, you know, from the fins and plate under right under the back of the throat are great. But I'll tell you, you know, catfish done right is so bloody good. Of course, you know, trout, and, you know, you can't discount a good bluegill. Especially
crappie.
I mean, crappie, you know, I like to scale them, score the skin, and, you know, 50-50 flour, corn, and cornstarch, you know, of course, with some Smoky Bayou, straight out of Pontchartrain, straight out of the bay in there, and then fry them whole, and then just pick that skin and the meat off the bones. You know, you're living, brother.
I tell you, one of my
that's
favorite freshwater fish growing up was bass.
Well, you know, you mentioned that, and I almost threw smallmouth bass in there, but I mean, smallmouth done right is fantastic. You know, we did a live,
it's phenomenal.
one of our original live streams with we kept a small or a large mouth about this big alive, and then dispatched it with a knife, scaled it, gutted it, scored it, floured it, and fried it whole. Brother, it was amazing.
Sounds good.
I bet. I mean, I love fish of any kind, really. One of the fish that I can't really stand anymore is tilapia.
I don't think I've ever eaten it, for better or worse.
Yeah,
you're not missing nothing.
It's considered a trash fish now. I mean, it's
there's a ton.
You don't really find
raised.
it in the wild. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't really find it in the wild anymore. It's 95% farm raised.
Yeah, you're right. And that's one of the reasons why. But all right, Chef, I think that's about it for this evening. We've done picked your brain on all kinds of stuff. So let everybody know there where they can get your amazing products, a website and things like that.
Well, you guys, you need to join the Huntchef Nation. Hit us up at huntchef.com. As soon as you land there, within probably about a heartbeat and a half, you're going to get a pop-up that asks you to join our email list. And that's the place to be because you get everything first, whether it's recipes, sales, discounts, blog posts, new partner opportunities, that type of thing. Of course, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And, man, if you could scratch that subscribe button on the YouTube channel, we'd be forever grateful. And, of course, if you can check out the Sportsman channel, Wednesday night, 7:30 Eastern. We're not even halfway through season 3 right now, but our show is called Mountaintop Outdoors. Again, 7:30 Eastern on the Sportsman channel. Everything's there at huntchef.com. Let you know what we're doing, where we're doing it at, and how we're doing. And all the products have their own how-tos and overviews on that YouTube channel. And, of course, our daily stuff on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. We'd love to see you there. I can't thank you, Chef Dan and Mr. Michael Booth, enough for having me on the Nature's Voice podcast. It has been a blast. It was great hanging out with you guys in Charleston, and I'm going to hold you to it. I need an invite to West Virginia with me and Warren to turkey hunt, and then we're going to reciprocate that back up here for some turkey hunting, trout fishing, and smallmouth bass fishing, and probably some Helltown beer tasting. What do you think?
That sounds great.
That sounds perfect. That invitation's open right now, and as well as the turkey hunt, we will go up to some Cherry River or Cranberry or somewhere, Shavers Fork, something.
Fork, yeah.
We'll catch us some trout up there as well.
Awesome.
Yep.
And we can hit up some of the local breweries in that area.
I'll look forward to it.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's an invitation for you, sir. You're more than welcome to come down here and turkey hunt anytime. You just let me know. We'll get it scheduled.
We're going to get that calendar date set in stone.
Sounds good.
All righty. Well, like I said, it was great having you on, Huntchef. Everybody go check them out there on their website. Get some of their seasonings. And be sure to follow him there on Facebook. Watch some of those cooking demonstrations that he does there on Tuesday nights. I've watched several of those. I'll be laying here in bed just watching them. That's one reason why I can't sleep. Anyways, Huntchef, we thank you and we appreciate you, sir. It was great having you on this evening.
Appreciate you guys. Until next time, remember, always eat what you kill.
Wild flavor.
That's right.
All right, guys. Be sure to check us out on the limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls there on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and we are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. We're there. So check us out and give us a subscribe. And thank you again, Huntchef, and everybody have a good night. Thanks for listening.
Have a great night.
Thanks, guys.
This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Top Down Construction, a local construction company located in Hurricane, West Virginia. A veteran-owned and operated construction company ready to tackle any project. With over 25 years of experience in the industry, they offer a wealth of knowledge from design to completion. Contact them today at 304-415-2203 and let them make your dream a reality. You can also check them out on their Facebook page or call them today at 304-415-2203.